So my main goal for this second episode is to try to do some sort of character voice, so you can differentiate between my voice and Elan's voice.
I mean, the question is going to be whether or not I remember the one that I used last time.
So, quick recap, both for the benefit of our listeners and ourselves. Last time we met Elin Var, and Alder Moran. Um, Elin had a trinket from the old world to show Alder, found out it was stolen. They confronted a wannabe criminal mastermind, Javin Deshi, and he said he would give it back if they took out Sibylla, the Scour Hag, who was another wannabe criminal. Alder defeated the Scour Hag in single combat, but he was poisoned in the process. But luckily, Elin knew someone a local doctor who could heal him. And they also took some vials of the poison to kind of threaten Javin, but he was pretty adamant that he needed something outside of this arrangement. So they got their stuff back, and they were able to get Javin kind of established or in the running to be the town marshal. And then when Elin gave Alder the trinket, it came alive, which is something that had happened before with Alder, but then this one kind of worked. I guess it functioned in a way that he had never seen before, and it seemed to give some sort of direction or a heading, if you will. And that's where we will pick up. And I think Elin sees this little thing come back to life, and says again, "What the hell is that?"
I am not sure. It appears that my connection to Sorbana has triggered this device and, well, given us something to look for. Her guidance is often mysterious and curious. Of course, as mere mortals, it is difficult to understand. And I think as he's saying this, Alder is quick, kind of slowly shifting his position and watching the screen function just like a compass, where that point, shifts along the perimeter as he moves to trace back and forth to a single point. But it appears that there is a point out there that is calling to this device.
And Elin, I think she's just kind of shocked, really, but she's also, obviously intrigued, and she's like, "Is this telling us to go east? How far east have you traveled?"
Alder pauses for a second, and he stops and he thinks for a moment, and you can tell that he is deciding what to tell you, not if to tell you. And then finally he speaks, and, well, as far as anyone has gone, to the eastern border, of course, the river.
The river, right? You'll forgive me. I mostly stick to the sea to the west. How It's just a river. How hard can it be? I've got a boat.
Yes, how hard could it be? Well, surely you've heard the stories of those that have come before us, and the river is difficult. There are, of course, some who have been able to successfully navigate its channels, make it to the other side. Sometimes they return, often they do not. But the river itself is dangerous. There are stories that it seeks out those who attempt to cross it, and pays unto them such violence, as if the river itself is alive and wishes them ill will.
Well, you know what they say, all rivers lead to the sea. Why don't we just go around?
Now, we have talked about this river, and I'm really interested to see if, like, where we're located, if anybody has actually traveled that.
Hmm.
And I would imagine probably yes. Um,
Traveled the river or traveled like around the mouth of the river on the ocean?
like around the mouth of the river on the ocean. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
either to the
just
south
realized that would be an
or the
option.
north. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like the idea that Elon, as somebody that is very used to the ocean and being on seafaring vessels, that would be a logical thing. And well, yes, I of course, I suppose that is possible, though the distance is quite significant. I I cannot promise how long this heading will last.
Hmm.
My connection to Sormena is limited, and he kind of gestures at the inlay of the black copper in his armor and his shield, and it may be that this heading disappears in any moment, or we could have it possibly for months.
So,
Do you have a vessel capable of such a trip?
oh, that's a good question. Um, well, technically, it's as you may know, to safely travel on the ocean waters, your vessel needs to be fairly small, or you attract the attention of the scourfish. Um, we could both fit. It wouldn't be the most comfortable journey. We would, let me put it this way, we would know each other much better by the end.
I think at that he gives a little bit of a calm smile of like that not necessarily being a bad thing. That, getting to know you. Now he may not be picking up on your sarcasm.
Yeah.
I think that's possible as well. But he's like, no, okay, like, getting to know you a little bit more, and apparently our fates are tied in some way to this thing that he's already in, right? Like
Mhm.
whatever this is, he's in.
Yeah.
He is third champion. This is like what he has trained for, what his purpose is for the Uyghurs. He is meant to go out into the world and to explore these things and learn about them and share the stories of Sormena. So he's already bought into this whole thing.
Mhm.
And if you seem interested, having a travel partner is not necessarily a bad thing. I think historically third champions have gone on their own. Like
Yeah.
they have only ever traveled alone because they rarely find somebody willing to assist and willing to kind of go along with that and have the same sort of like buy-in or investment. So like you even offering this sort of thing brings him like a little bit of joy in the fact that maybe he doesn't have to do this alone. So yeah, so I mean, he's in. He's in.
I think Elin is also very in, but isn't going to let on, as let it on it, let on as much. Like I think she sees whatever this is as it's either I don't remember if I said this on the recording or off mic at one point, but she sees it as a weapon or a resource, and whatever it is, it's either going to be used for Var or against it. And she knows that going with someone as capable as Alder is probably going to be the best way to get it. So I think she's just going to kind of look around, like look out towards the west, look towards the trees to the east, look at the device, and like, okay, just to sum up, if we go east, It's dangerous and there might be an impassable river, but it could be the quickest, most direct route. If we go along the coast, a little bit south, that should go better because of my experience and my boat, but it'll take a little bit longer. And obviously, the open ocean can be dangerous as well.
And he kind of like shrugs and then nods, like yes, that's the long and short of it.
So, how do we decide? And we could do like a gather information roll to try to find out if people know about either path, like whether it's the ocean or inland.
I like it. Yeah, let's do it.
So I actually have that with that waterborne path asset. I get +1 on gather information. So I think that's where Elin obviously wants to take the water, take the ocean. So I think she's going to head to all her contacts down by the dock, talk to some other divers, maybe some captains that she knows. And let's see here. Gather information, though. Okay, so it's plus wits. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
if you act within a community or ask questions of a person with whom you share a bond. So I do have on her bond list is the other group of free divers. So I'll add +1. So I add +2 to this. So that's pretty good.
nice.
Well, and then my wits are 3, so a total of +5. And that, oh, so my challenge dice are a 1 and a 10, and I rolled a 2. So on a weak hit, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Ooh. So she's specifically asking about the ocean. Um, so a new danger could be the very first thing I thought of is like a new sea beast was spotted recently attacking ships. But it could be, it could be weather. We could roll an oracle.
Let's do an oracle. Yeah, because I'm inclined more towards a like a weather event,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe like some sort of current
Yeah.
that has changed.
We have established previously that there are extreme weather events and high winds in this western seaboard. That is a tease for our world building episodes that will be released soon.
uh, so would we like to do just an action theme oracle to
Yeah,
bring up a couple words?
sure.
Okay. Okay. Defend and tool are the two words. So
Hmm.
defend is the action, tool is the theme. Hmm.
That's interesting. So the first thing that made me think of is like somebody mined the water or put some sort of like traps out there and they don't know who, like another group of aggressive humans or something.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. So in my head, I'm going to um, defend tool is that there has been some sort of incursion at the mine where the sacrificial metal has been recovered and then applied to the boats, and therefore right now the like that shortage is keeping a lot of boats um like out of the water.
Okay.
Like the scourfish, currently the scourfish have become a threat again.
Gotcha. So they might be more vulnerable even on a small two-person craft.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. I
Um
like that.
yeah, so it's like they've become like currently they're a little bit more aggressive, and because we're spending resources, because VAR is spending resources on like trying to protect existing boats, that like the larger ones, that the smaller crafts have now become a little bit more susceptible
Mhm.
to attack. Um, So what is the, I guess, the complicates the quest, introduces a new danger. So I think in both of those things we've kind of established. Should I gather information to see if there is any like previous third champion that might have a way across the river?
Yeah, or just anybody in the village. I could, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like Elin wants to learn about the ocean path, Alder wants to learn about the inland path, and we'll see which one sounds safer, better.
Okay. So I'm going to approach one of the members of the Roost, which is what I'm calling the head, or centralized Wegrit organization. His name is Evan Bress, and I think I'm going to. I think he was the previous third champion, so he is an elderly man. Um, has probably like living has probably seen the most of the world
Hmm.
within my order. Uh, so I go to him to ask about the river. We don't have a name for the river. I've been thinking about that, but we
Ooh.
don't really have. Yeah. Um, so let me roll here. Oh boy. All right. So wits. So I rolled a 10 and a 2. Luckily, I have 2 wits, so my roll of a 2 got me to a weak hit. So the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Well, I'm gonna move up my momentum by 1, and I'm gonna roll another oracle.
Yeah.
I think let's see how it goes. Uh, Await and price.
So, ooh, that to me that the thing I first thought of is like maybe it is it's seasonality, right? If you're
Hmm.
await is like this, the river's very high right now. Price made me think somebody built a toll bridge, but I don't think that would really fit. But maybe there is a way across, but it is expensive, or
Very
they ask a
expensive.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I like both of those things. I'm into it. I like the idea that currently the season is like the worst
Hmm.
for this. Maybe, a lot of rains, the river is swollen, it's prone for heavy current or fast currents. Um, but there is someone that has figured a safe passage, but they know that that service is at a premium and it is costly.
Ooh.
I like it.
Now, how do we decide which? I mean, I metagaming, I like the sound of the river because there's a lot that could happen there with
Hmm.
whatever the cost is and the extra danger. I feel like Elin would want to do the coast, but we could leave it up to some sort of role.
So, okay, so at this point, what are we what are we taking on right now? Like,
Like for a quest.
yeah, like are we swearing an iron vow
So
before we take this step,
I
or are
think
we
Alder would
like
be.
realizing? Okay.
Yeah, so I think Elin would mechanically in the game. Elin would roll securing advantage as an aid your ally move to Alder rolling the vow, because I definitely think Alder, you also have a higher heart, but in general you're more the type to roll a vow, to actually swear an iron vow. I actually feel like Elin rolling swear an iron vow is going to be rare, and it's going to have to be like a big moment for her to actually do it, just given her character.
Hmm.
And it also it I think it kind of makes sense where um on securing advantage, the move itself, there's different ways you can roll it, like plus edge, plus shadow, plus wits, like if you're using deception or expertise. And if you're using loyalty, you roll plus heart. So I feel like for this situation, I would roll plus heart, even though I only have one in heart, because she's not particularly loyal. She's just going on this, she wants to see what's at the end of this road. And
Right.
maybe she will change. So
So I mean, I'm gonna argue that heart is also in line with loyalty because you stated that whatever this thing is, she wants to either
Yeah,
use it for Var or protect Var
right.
from it. So, despite that maybe not being her strongest trait, I feel like in this moment it makes the most
Mhm.
sense.
So what we could do is Alder would swear an iron vow, and maybe on a strong hit we go Alder's way, on a weak hit we go Elin's way.
Okay, I like it.
And then on a miss, I don't know. We'll figure that out. There's also the option to, I don't know if Alder would want to forge a bond with Elin at this point, or if he would wait.
Um, I feel like we haven't spent significant time yet
Hmm.
with each other. Which is why when you brought up the idea of being in a boat together for a trip, like that he was not upset about that. Like he is about forging bonds. He loves that. That is something that he is trained to do. You know,
Hmm.
it is in a certain manner his job to do. You know, it is expected of him to go out into the world and forge these bonds as a member of his order to connect people and bring them to the order, or
Hmm.
at least share the word of Sormena. So um, it's like part of the reason why I said he smiles happily. You know, like it's a very calm smile. Like, yes, that sounds wonderful spending time with you. Like forging a bond is something that could come out of that. Um, so what do you think? You want to roll? Do
So
you want to roll an assist here?
yeah, I'll
Secure an
roll secure
advantage?
an advantage in aid of
Okay.
um, your swearing an iron vow. So this is plus wits, which is one. Ooh, so I rolled a six. There's a seven. My challenge dice are a one and a seven. Oh, I did not beat it, right? I don't get anything else.
So I think you were rolling for heart,
Yeah, I
if
said
that makes a
I
difference.
yes, I said wits, but I meant heart.
Okay.
And I did the math for heart. So on a weak hit, you get plus one momentum. So you get to take plus one momentum um,
Okay.
right now as you roll your.
All right. My momentum's up to 8 at this point.
Me too.
So that bodes
Oh,
well.
I could have. Well, yeah, I could have burned my momentum to make it a strong hit, but no, I don't think I will. I think we're gonna. I think Elin is, prepared to turn back at any moment too, depending on how this goes.
All right. Okay, so I am going to swear an iron vow. Um,
Yeah. What
and
is?
I think my vow is going to be kind of twofold. The first is to discover the source of this heading. Um, but also because you are accompanying me in service of this vow, that your safety is also included.
Mhm.
Like Alder is going to essentially, not, uh, yeah, I mean, he's going to attempt to keep you safe. He's going to promise to keep you safe and to guide you to this thing, whatever it and wherever it might be.
And I think Elin is like, I appreciate that, but I we're in this together.
Are you belittling me right now?
No, I think she is feeling a little defensive that
Mm,
you're saying to keep her safe when
mm.
she's got knives hidden all over.
I mean, it's not that he thinks that she's incapable or anything.
Yeah.
That's certainly not meant to be insulting. It's simply like, look, we're into this together, and it's like this is something I am swearing, and if you are joining me, then it is my responsibility to keep you safe.
She's
Like
like, okay,
whether
I'm gonna keep your bird safe.
fair enough. All right, here we go. No whammy. Oh
Oh no.
no.
Oh no. What is
All
it?
right, so this is heart. Um, you know what? Okay, so I rolled a 2. The challenge dice were 7 and a 1. I have +3, so that will get me to 5. I am going to burn my momentum
Yeah, I
to get
definitely
rid
think
of
you
that
should.
7. So I reset it back down to 2, I
Yep.
believe.
Yeah. So you don't, the actual values don't really matter. It's just your momentum goes back to 2 and that challenge die becomes a hit. So,
Yeah. All right. And so I have had a strong hit. You are emboldened, and it is clear what you must do. Ask the oracle if unsure. I think on a strong hit,
we got to cross that
we're
river.
we're crossing the river.
All right.
Yep. We are crossing the river,
And
and I get 2 momentum.
what I don't know is if you take that 2 momentum since you just burned it. I think that makes sense because you're making it a strong hit.
Right. Yeah.
And I think Elin is like, oh, okay, water's water, a boat's a boat. Um, she has something she wants to do first, though.
Okay.
Um, so I think we get, they maybe make plans to meet back up in a couple of hours, just rest, get ready, get some food, gather supplies, that sort of thing. But what she actually is going to do is I'm going to roll forge a bond with VAR itself because she does not actually have a bond listed for the city or the
Oh,
town.
interesting.
And what this is going to manifest as is the people whose boat was sunk by the Scour Hag that Elin then got paid to recover from salvage from. She is going to anonymously leave that money and some extra supplies for whomever owned it or whoever was affected by it. So I think she knows everything in the town well enough where she can just easily get to the people's house, leave a little bag on the door with whatever they use for currency, some spiced dried seaweed, you know, maybe a pastry, something like that. And I think this is just her way of like feeling more connected to everyone in the town. Um, so I am going to roll plus heart. Her low heart score is going to be interesting with some of these moves. So, that is a miss. I rolled a 1, and my challenge die were only a 2 and a 4. So they reject you. Pay the price.
I mean, you've got momentum. You could burn
Oh,
it
good
to get
point.
a weak hit.
Good point. Just I. So my immediate thought was that the person sees her and they like come out the door and they know immediately, like they know who she is, they know what happened, and I think they just like they're like, I don't want your charity, and throw the bag back at her. um what we could say for the weak hit is that she tells them that about Alder and the circle, and that they took out the Scour Hag and that they won't be a problem anymore, and maybe that is enough where the person like doesn't forgive them, but it doesn't end angry.
Cool. I like it.
All right, so I can mark one more bond. And I don't know if Alder has anything they want to do before we start a journey. That's a move.
Um, I think I think he's just going to gather his belongings. And I like the idea that Alder is all ready for this. Like he already has limited belongings.
Mm-hmm.
He carries most of his belongings around with him at all times.
He travels light.
And yeah, he travels light, and it's because his job is to be a traveler, to be on the move. So I think it's very easy for him to pick up his things and be ready to go. I think the only difference when Elin sees him again is that he is carrying his spear
Mm.
with uh, with the blade, with the point that matches that of an egret. Um, and maybe I'm wondering, maybe he has a helmet of some kind. at this point as well. That is a sign that he is on his journey as third champion, and it's simple leather, with some feathers, and again, like a small inlay uh, of the black copper in it as well. But yeah, I think that he's waiting for her when she's ready.
All right. So,
Oh,
oh,
hold on a second.
yeah.
One last thing. Um, that he has a I think he's walking with a slight limp, and it appears that there's a bandage around his left leg that was not there earlier.
You okay, buddy?
Yes, of course. Merely preparations for a journey.
Okay. Out of character, do you want to tell me what that's? Is that from the battle? Or do
No.
we want to wait and see? Keep it
I
playing this one close to the chest.
yeah, a little bit. I think we might have talked about it before offline, but I think I just wanted to throw that out there, that his appearance has changed, and the fact that he has a slight limp, a bandage over his leg, like on his thigh, kind of like just bound a little bit, and he's wearing a helmet, and he has a spear. But I think that's the
All right.
difference. But he looks ready to go.
Should we go see? I feel like my character voice is barely a character voice. Should we go see the doctor before we go? Like it's a lot of walking.
And he shakes his head no, and no, there is no need for that. I will be fine. This is simply something a third champion must endure. A rite of passage, if you will.
Okay.
One that I am happy to endure.
Um, and I think she's just like, all right, let's drop it. A little weirded out. Undertake a journey. So are we gonna say this is the journey just to the river and call it like
Uh,
dangerous or formidable?
I think so.
So because there might
Yeah.
be some stuff might happen along the way.
Yep. I think so. Because this is like, I would say, to the river and across it.
So I do one thing I'll point out with the reach your destination when it says when your journey comes to an end, roll the challenge dice against your progress. On a strong hit, the situation at your destination favors you. On a weak hit, you arrive but face an unforeseen hazard or complication. So that seems like a perfect way to determine what it's like when we get to the river.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I like
Okay.
that. I like that a lot.
So
Yep.
dangerous seems like this seems like it could be there will be challenges, but it's not definitely not like extreme or epic. But I don't know, dangerous or formidable.
Um, I mean, getting to the river, I think, is simply troublesome. I think
Okay.
it's relatively simple
Okay.
to get there.
All right.
And I think what's going to make the roll difficult is because it is not necessarily a long trip, and producing enough progress waypoints along the way is going to be more difficult.
Yep.
That's why I'm kind of suggesting we just make it troublesome.
Okay. Do you want me to roll the first one since we are leaving my town?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So this is 3 progress per waypoint, and we roll plus wits. If you're setting off from a community with which you share a bond, add 1. I happen to share a bond with Var now, so I can add plus 1. I did not plan it that way. So I add plus 4. And that is a strong hit. I rolled a 6. Plus 4 is 10. Challenge die are a 5 and an 8. So
Nice.
on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. If the waypoint is unknown to you, envision it. So I am going to add the three progress for that, which is great. And this is probably the point where we're getting into Alder's territory. So this must be a waypoint that is familiar to you.
Yes. I like the idea that maybe this is uh, this is an outpost, and the it is designed to be a rest stop for travelers. It is it is built and maintained by the Weegrits, but it is open to all. And I'm imagining like something uh, almost like a hostel. Very very simple
Um,
accommodation.
Sorry to interrupt.
Mhm.
The places that birds stop during a migration are called stopovers or stopover sites.
Perfect.
So this is a
There you go.
stopover.
Stopover. Perfect. Thank
It's
you.
where they have plenty of food, suitable shelter, and no predators around.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, this definitely seems like, um, yeah, that definitely sounds like something that the Uyghurs would have set
Is
up. They would
somebody
have
there
sent,
selling popovers? Stopover popovers?
maybe, maybe just suet and birdseed. Um,
Oh. Hello, everybody. We've got a really quick mid roll this week. Really, just wanted to say thanks for listening. We're really excited to finally have the podcast out in the world. We're really happy that some people have checked it out, and we hope that keeps going. So, we just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone and to just say um, feel free to leave a review or a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts because we do have an algorithm to feed. And we hope you continue listening. Check back in 2 weeks for episode 3. And then episode 4 after that will be our first world building episode. So come back and check that out as well. So that's it. Just so once again, we just want to say thank you and back to the show.
so yeah, I think that we find our way to one of these stopovers. We know that it's safe. The immediate surrounding vicinity has been cleared of any uh, dangerous wildlife. It is, like I said, kind of regularly maintained. So there are lower champions that will go out here every once in a while and keep it clean, make sure it's well stocked, deal with any predators, whether wild uh, or domesticated, people or animals, and yeah. So I think, and it. Uh, do you want this to just be the two of us, or do you think that this is a well-traveled area?
It's probably well traveled, especially given what we said about VAR being like busier and busier. It seems like there
Okay.
would be like maybe to the point where do you envision these as being like staffed? Like are there people whose job it is to just stay at these points, these stopovers?
Um, I think probably this one
Mhm.
is, and in a very unofficial capacity.
Mhm.
Like there may be a couple Wegrit acolytes there,
Mhm.
making sure that everybody gets fed, that there's,
Is there
like,
like is there a not a ceremony, but like, is there something that you as a Wegret or especially as a third champion, like an altar, something you do out of your religious devotion, like when you get there? Because I feel like
oh
Elin
yeah,
would not, she wouldn't necessarily do it, but she would be interested and like respectful. Like she's not going to shit on anything that's happening here.
right. I think that wherever there's a stopover, there is inherently a community of birds indigenous to that area that the Wegrits like befriend and care for. So maybe in this case we're talking about um, I I kind of like the idea of this particular one. It's turkeys. It's like wild turkeys,
Mhm.
and that it is normal for it is normal for people to that are members of the Wegrits, or a member of the order that they they toss a little bit of food to these turkeys, or I'm trying to think of like what turkeys eat. I know
Berries,
they enjoy
probably, right?
acorns and berries. Yeah. um,
So
so like,
I think Elin has a bunch of dried fish, especially like small like anchovies, and she's trying to feed them to the turkeys, and maybe they're not interested. So
right.
but
Yeah.
she's
It's
like
just,
throwing them to Threshka. Like they've definitely, Threshka's probably like knows she's
oh yeah,
always willing
Threshka's
to.
all into it. But yeah, so I think this is Sormena works through birds here. So like all birds are respected in some way, and so wherever these stopovers are, and I imagine like stopovers, this is also going to be seasonal, right? Like this time of year it might be the turkeys, but if you come in the summer it's going to be like some sort of songbird, and in the fall it might be something passing through on migration. So there it's simply like whatever community of birds is in the area are welcomed and taken care of, and as part of a member of that order, Alder will participate in the feeding of, and maybe he needs to leave for a little bit to um, protect them. Go out and look for a predator,
Mm,
and make sure that that predator steers clear. Um, Oh, you know what? Okay. We've established that the river is swollen right now. Are you comfortable with the idea that we kind of mimic our real world cycles here in, northern hemisphere, where spring is a lot of rain,
yeah.
and okay. Well, spring is also when these birds are laying their eggs. I'm going to say
Uh,
that Alder is like his responsibility when visiting this place is to find a nest and protect it overnight.
I feel like we should do a roll for that.
Yeah, I think so too, and that was part of the reason
Yeah.
why it just kind of came to me.
And I feel like
Um,
Elin is like looking at those eggs, like, oh, those look delicious.
yeah,
Right.
turkey eggs are pretty good. um, hmm, I'm
So
trying to think of like what this would
I would
be.
do resupply when you hunt, forage, or scavenge. Or if you're viewing it just as fighting off predators, you could just roll battle, which is like the more abstract combat roll.
Yeah, I feel like none of the predators are going to be like particularly dangerous to
Mhm.
Alder, right? They're dangerous to turkeys, they're dangerous to turkey
Yeah.
eggs, but Alder is like it's not necessarily about him fighting something, it's just his presence that is kind of protecting the nest.
Mhm.
Um
Forge a bond. When you spend significant time with the community, stand together to face hardship. That also works.
let's do it.
Yeah. You're going to forge a bond with these turkeys.
Okay. Yeah, I mean I think that's great. That's fantastic. Um okay. Forge a bond, and this is heart, right?
Yep.
Always good when I can roll with heart.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. I have rolled, that's three twos in a row for my action roll. Luckily my heart is 3,
Mhm.
so I'm a 5. The challenge were 4 and 8.
So weak hit.
So
Did
it's
none of your
weak hit.
assets help you here?
Geez, I don't think so. Let's see. Um nope. Here we go. Hold on. Uh yes. Oh, nope. Actually,
Were you looking at Story
my
Weaver?
Yeah, my story
Yeah, not
weaver,
quite.
if I'm sharing a story, if I'm actually speaking, then yes, but nope. So, weak hit. They ask something more of you first, envision what it is, and do it, or mark the bond. If you refuse or fail, pay the price.
My first thought is like you'll just reduce supply by one. Like you had to do something to feed these turkeys,
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
and we're sharing a supply track, so we both go down to +4.
Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to think of like what that might look like.
Hmm.
I think that maybe my approach is a little too brazen and I end up setting camp a little too close, not realizing it. And then of course these turkeys are nervous about my presence here. And in order to make sure that they remain fed instead of like fighting me or driving them away from the nest, I have to spend some of my resources to keep them healthy as well, like that, because it was my mistake.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, okay, so that's what I do, but I will add a bond.
nice. I think while you're
Okay.
doing that, Elid is just kind of wandering around, chatting to people, and she finds somebody that looks like one of the acolytes that maybe looks a little older, like they've been there for a while, and she's like, "Do you know this Alder guy? Like, what's his deal? Tell me about him. Can I trust him?"
Um, I mean, they're not going to say anything bad about me.
I
I'm third
Yeah,
champion,
I feel like
right? Like,
she knows you're third champion, but hasn't really asked what that means.
mhm. I think there's probably like a really flowery, over the top uh Oh, are you speaking of third champion Alder Moran? Why, he is the bravest and smartest and most courageous of us all. He has taken on the grand duty of traveling the lands, and like it's like ridiculous. And it's very canned
Hmm.
response because they're just acolytes and they don't know better, right? They're just like they're drinking the Kool-Aid, but they're not really understanding the deeper meaning behind everything. Um, so I think that's what you get, like, is just is the PR pitch on, like what the third champion is to the Weegrits. And
Hmm.
it's the there is definitely I think an air of mystique to the position because it is one that travels and goes out into the world and don't always return. So there's a little bit of there's a different type of respect for the position that would come from simply like the first champion or the second champion, which remain behind. And while they are protectors of everything, they're not necessarily putting themselves in danger in the same way that the third champion does. So
Hmm.
there's like a different view on what that means. But I think you, like I said, I think you get a very canned, um, overly enthusiastic uh, reply
Hmm.
to that question from somebody that probably doesn't actually know me, merely knows of me and of the title that I hold.
Hmm. I think she's just like, "Wow, you guys really like Al. Like, this is interesting."
Right, you call me Al. I, I think if you do that, they're definitely gonna like scrunch up their faces
Yeah.
in distaste. Like that you would dare refer to the third champion as Al. How dare you, right? Like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I love it.
All right.
I
So,
love it.
we ready to leave this waypoint? Do you
Yes.
want to
Yep.
roll the next one?
Yeah. So is this another like undertake a journey?
Yeah. So, actually, we need to decide. So, on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint and you can choose. You make good use of your resources and mark progress, or you move at speed. You mark progress and take one momentum, but suffer one supply. So, originally I was like, oh, yeah, let's take -1 supply and get an extra momentum. But now, after Alder wasted some supply on those turkeys,
Yeah,
Elin's
it's
a
my
little
bad.
like, I don't know about that.
Well, I think this first portion of the trip is probably easy. So I
Yeah.
think we make good use of our resources, we mark progress.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So,
yeah,
and
I
then,
think it's pretty straightforward.
and since you roll plus wits to leave from here, and since you share a bond, you get +1
Oh,
because
right.
you just
Okay.
bonded with this waypoint
Excellent.
or this stopover.
Um, Stopover. Yeah. All right. Here we go. How about anything higher than 2? Okay. Nice. Okay, I got another 2. But the 2 challenge dice were also 2s.
Nice.
So plus my wits plus the 1, I'm at what would that put me at? 5. Um, so a strong hit, but we did have a match on the strong hit.
Ooh, right. Okay, so we mark progress.
Okay.
Um, what should happen with the match? That we should probably oracle this. So we do. It means we do reach another waypoint, and there's something interesting there.
Yeah. All right. You want me to hit Oracle?
Yeah, because nothing's coming to mind right away.
Ooh, protect and peace.
So this must be a community that's under attack from something.
Yeah. I mean, we know that there are terrible creatures around, right? We
Yeah.
know that there are like bears, natural bears. We also know that there are bears that carry Sormena's curse, and maybe with a match, we we find the next stopover. Um,
Like, not either destroyed or like recovering from an attack.
yeah. I like the idea that they're recovering from an attack and that the threat is still around.
Yeah.
Like it's not there right now, but it still is out there nearby.
So I feel like, yeah, and well, Alder rolled this as well, but if this is another stopover, obviously Alder's going to be the one to be upset when he sees this.
Yeah, I think that he is immediately going to try and find out what happened. That this is not entirely um, rare. Like especially because we're now quite far from Var,
Hmm.
right?
And
We've traveled for a few days, and
this is also spring, so bears are coming out of hibernation. They're hungry.
right,
Maybe the
yeah.
river's extra high this year. It's too deep to fish.
Well, I like the idea that as we're getting closer to the river, um, that the land is getting more swampy as well.
Hmm.
Like just the water level everywhere is kind of rising. So these wild animals that might normally be at this point digging for roots, in the spring or something like that, like they're just digging through mud, and um, it's more frustrating. So yeah, I think that Alder is going to approach the stopover, look for survivors. I think find a few people that were able to board themselves up inside, and he finds out that unfortunately there is, though rare, a one of the wild bears that have been afflicted with Sormena's curse in the area that recently made an attack on this particular stopover. Um,
This sounds like you're
yeah.
gonna swear an iron vow to help this community.
Jeez, I mean, it kind of does, right?
Yeah, and I mean I think that's also the gameplay loop is what we're
Right.
supposed to do. And this, it doesn't necessarily have to be massive. This could be probably dangerous or formidable.
I would say this is probably, I mean, this is dangerous for
Yeah.
sure. I might say the only reason it might not be formidable is if Elin is helping.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 against 1, you know, 2 against these bears. Um, Probably. I mean, it's still super dangerous, but not like formidable. If it was 1 against, that'd be a
Yeah.
different story.
And I guess we don't know how many bears there are going to be yet. The dice will end up telling us that.
Right.
um,
Right.
so I think Elin is, she's not super jazzed, but she sees the community. She sees like people were attacked. These are just innocent people living their lives. And she says, yes, yeah, I will help you hunt these bears. And again, I'll roll secure an advantage to see if I can help you with the vow. I feel like this is also plus heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It could be plus
Uh,
iron. Also,
I feel like it could be plus wits. It could be plus iron. I feel like either of those would be, because you're not necessarily, using your heart to help. In this case, you're surveying the area.
mhm,
You're trying to find out where this thing might have come from. Using your wits to determine a good ambush point or
mhm.
something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would work.
Whoops. I dropped my die. Okay, so I'll secure an advantage plus wits. Wits is 3, so that's a 6. Oh, ooh. So that is a miss and a match. That kind of, my first thought is the bears attack right now.
Yeah. I mean, before we can even really agree to do this thing,
Mhm.
this massive cursed bear like lumbers out of the forest, and the people that are staying in the stopover like scurry back inside, and Alder kind of lowers his spear. What does Elin do?
I think Elin is going to try to, um, you know, flank it because just knowing Alder, seeing that Alder's going to face it head on, there's probably other like I feel like there'd be one or two other people that would also face it. Not.
Um well, I'm gonna say at this one. Okay, here we go. This is gonna be an oracle.
Mhm.
Um, how does a 50-50 yes or no sound, or should it be less likely than that? So I'm gonna say that this particular place is too far away from VAR to have like regular staffing.
Mhm.
So it's
Right.
really just the
Whoever
odds
happens to
of
be
somebody
there.
else there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I
do you
feel
think a
like it's
50-50?
no, I think it's unlikely. You're right. Yeah, unlikely that somebody else
Unlikely.
there
Okay.
has a weapon.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right.
It is
So,
unlikely, but there is somebody else there with a weapon.
is it another Wegret or is it just a regular human?
That is a good
I'm kind of
question.
picturing like somebody unassuming just whips out a knife.
So I'm loving these oracles. I just rolled up a character oracle as a roll, and it said minor.
Like with an
So
E or an
maybe this
O?
with an E, yeah, as in like an
With an
or
axe, yeah.
minor, right? With a pickaxe, yeah. Um, so I like the idea that there's maybe a group of miners here, and one of them like stands his ground or
Mhm.
stands her ground. Um, let's see, a miner, and we're gonna come up with a name here. Pierce.
Pierce, nice.
That
Hell
is,
yeah.
God, I love this oracle.
So let's see here. Are you going to start with face danger? Actually, so face danger also works for face danger when overcoming an obstacle, avoiding a hazard, fleeing, or evading an attack. So that's more what Elin is doing. I feel like Alder is going right to enter the fray.
Yes. So
So I am going to face danger plus shadow to try to, it's with deception, stealth, or trickery, and you're going to enter the fray.
yes,
All
yep.
right.
And I think we're gonna set this at dangerous.
Yeah, if it's just I can track it. If it's just one,
Okay.
um, Why don't we both roll and then you can describe this cursed bear?
Okay.
So plus shadow.
Oh, yeah. I got a strong hit on that one.
I got a. Oh wait, do I have a bonus here? When you face danger by lying, bluffing, stealing, or cheating, that doesn't really count for hiding from a bear, unfortunately. So I got a weak hit, which gives me I succeed but face a troublesome cost. Um, so either I am tired or hurt and endure harm, or I'm dispirited or afraid and endure stress. I kind of feel like maybe she's a little afraid. Like she's not used to
I like the
land
idea
predators.
that maybe Elin has never seen one of these.
Yeah.
Like she's heard the stories, but the like they're a little bit more than a boogeyman to her.
Hmm.
Alder, on the other hand, has faced these before.
Yes.
And so he sees it, he recognizes the threat, and he springs into action.
Okay, so I just lose one spirit for enduring stress. Suffer minus spirit equal to your foe's rank or as appropriate to the situation. So I think that would be 2, right?
Yes, because it is dangerous. Yeah.
All right. So
Uh,
I did succeed, though. I'm just afraid.
okay.
So the I am not the bear's focus. So what does Alder
Okay.
do?
Well, Alder stands his ground as this thing rushes forward. He lowers his spear. I did roll a strong hit
Nice.
on my enter the fray as he confidently strides forward, kind of picking up speed and kind of swinging his spearhead back and forth as the feathers tied just below the point kind of sway, and the bear's eyes start moving, with that, and instead of watching him directly. And as he does so, the second head of this cursed bear also is distracted, and both of them start kind of weaving in unison, revealing the cords and blinking lights along its neck and jugular, down through its fur and hidden until you see small patches on its chest, and then further on down its flank of small blinking status lights and cords and soldering that have now been infused into this thing, an amalgamation of machine and animal that unfortunately went through a mutation of a curse, Sormana's curse. So with a strong hit, I take 2 momentum and I have the initiative. So I am going to roll. Um, I'm going to roll strike.
That makes
I
sense.
think I'm gonna get right in there and roll strike. Let's see if I can do this. How are we going to handle having this other minor here, Pierce?
Um, I don't know. I think there are rules for it. My thought is, if we roll poorly, then we have to keep them in mind. Like we might have to take an action to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
if we roll well, then maybe they are also helping and do some damage.
Okay. I like it. All right. So let's do strike, and this is going to be edge. Ugh. I did not. Oh wait. When you have initiative, attack in close quarters, roll iron. So I'm going to be using iron. Here we go. Oh, good God. Well, I rolled another 2, which is the theme of the night. There's no possible way I'm going to get to the challenge dice. We're an 8 and a 10. So, as my last fight, every time I tried to take the initiative and strike, your attack fails and you must pay the price your foe has initiative. Um,
I mean, you gonna take harm?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's going to be the most logical thing that happens here.
So I think seeing that kind of snaps Elin out of it, and I am also going to strike um, rolling edge because I'm going to just use a throwing knife, stay at range since she is still a little afraid. Oh, but with my cutthroat talent, when you're in a position to strike at an unsuspecting foe, I can add 2 and take +1 momentum on a hit, or inflict +2 harm on a hit. I think I really want to get this hit, so I'm going to do the add +2 and take 1 momentum. So this is going to be a +4 roll.
Nice.
Ooh, that's so I rolled a 1, which gives me a
Uh-oh.
5. My challenge dice were a 9 and a 10.
Wow.
So
We were not meant to do well in this.
no. So on a miss, I same as you, right? I pay the price and the enemy has initiative.
Yep.
Um, what is a good, like, does this bear have a ranged attack that we didn't know about? Like a little,
I mean, I love the idea that this thing does have a ranged attack.
yeah, I'm picturing like the knife. I'm so yeah, Elin throws the knife at it's well aimed at like kind of a soft part near its ribs, but she is not used to accounting for the machinery and circuitry that has like woven itself into this bear, and the knife just bounces off, and one of the heads immediately turns and clocks her, and there is like a spark of like electricity lightning that shoots out and shocks her. Um, and would that be 2 harm?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, we can't take too many more of those.
And okay, so the bear has initiative, so we can clash, or I can try aid your
Yes.
ally also, or secure an advantage.
Up to you how you'd like to do
Okay,
this one.
let's think for a second. So I could, what could Elin do? Ah, she could think about, I don't know. So I was gonna say, would she try? She has those vials of like salt water, but would she know that water and electricity don't mix? Probably not.
No, I don't think
Yeah, she
so.
would not be able to put 2 and 2 together. Are you just gonna clash?
Um, like part of me wants to try and turn the tide.
Hmm.
So once per fight, when you risk it all, you may steal initiative from your foe and make a move, which isn't a progress move. When you do, you add +1 and take 1 momentum on a hit. If you fail to score a hit on the move, you will suffer a dire outcome, pay the price. So like that's at this point, like both of us have failed, and this is kind of his move.
Hmm.
I feel. So yeah. The other thing is so you and to make a move, I kind of want to do the battle move. And I want to roll heart fight depending on your courage, allies, or companions.
So I think battle is meant to resolve an entire fight in a single roll. It's more like you're traveling and there's a small group of raiders and you don't want to do the full fight scene, you roll battle. I
Mm.
think that's what it is intended for. I do like the idea of secure an advantage. Oh, so how about this? Maybe Elin like sees the miner and is, you know, to tries to get him to attack as a way to secure an advantage for you to turn the tide. So she calls out like help, and that would be a roll plus wits, secure an advantage with expertise, insight, or observation. Like maybe she even can see like can say like avoid the metal, avoid the armor, something like that. Like tell she's kind of seen how this bear operates and wants
Okay.
to help this guy. So if I roll well, he'll get a hit in, and then you'll be able to take advantage of that if you want to risk the turn the tide.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So plus wits is I have a 3 in wits. That's a 5. That is a strong hit. I rolled a
Nice.
2, but I have 3 in wits. So he gets a hit in on this bear. Like the miner charges up and sinks his pickaxe right into the side of the bear, right into a meaty part. Is that how many ticks is that? Where's enter the fray? This is dangerous. 2 progress per harm. Okay. And that will give you, for securing advantage on a strong hit, you get +1 to your next move or +2 momentum.
I'm going to take the 2 momentum because that'll get me up to 8.
All right.
And then doing my turn the tide, that will get me up to potentially 9, or at least, hopefully, at least get me a weak hit. So I am going to turn the tide. I am going to risk it all. I'm going to steal initiative from my foe and make a move. So this is going to be strike. And let's see, using iron. Let's see how it goes. All right. Not oh, no. Okay, strong hit.
Did you add +1? Or you got it?
Nope, I got it. I got it. So the action was 4, the challenge was 2 and 5. So I was looking at iron. I have 2 in, so that
Okay.
gets me to a 6. Yep.
Awesome.
I was looking at edge, and I was like, oh no.
So you get
All
another
right.
momentum, and I'll add 2 more damage to the bear. All right. So Elin calls out to the miner. He hits the bear. What does Alder do?
Okay, so that was turn the tide, and what I did was strike. So inflict 1 harm, retain initiative was what I got, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got the harm?
Yep.
Okay. Um, I mean, I have momentum. I'm going to strike again, and I think this is going to be like in quick succession, kind of a swirl of the spear to catch the attention of both the bear heads with the feathers, and then it's just like stab, stab, stab as quick as possible. All right, so this is going to be with iron. Nice. All right, another strong hit.
Ooh, yes.
I got a 7, and the challenges were 5 and 3. So another harm. I retain initiative.
So I think Elin, at this, seeing you just wallop, are you just like smacking in the face? I've pictured you going
No,
from one to the other.
I am attempting to kill this thing.
Gotcha.
And I think that for Elin now, in the last few days of being around Alder, the precision and intensity of this fight compared to the one that he had with Sibylla is like way different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're realizing now that with Sibylla, Alder was very restrained, that he had zero intention of actually hurting Sibylla. He was simply fighting her to try and make a point and to defeat her, but no lasting injuries. Hopefully that she would come out of this just fine. In this fight, he is fighting to kill,
Mm-hmm.
and his spear is fast and true and cutting open this bear over and over again. And I think, like, some cuts, there's a little splash of blood on the ground. Other cuts are a flash of sparks as he severs wires, um, and connections, and you're starting to see some of the LED lights that are in this, the built-in circuitry of this hybrid cybernetic bear are starting to like blink either irregularly or going out completely as the bear sustains injury after injury.
So I think seeing that Elin is, I'm debating if she's going to charge in or attempt another thrown. I think she's going to charge in and kind of stab into some of the exposed like circuitry, like things that look like they're going wrong. Um, so I'm just going to roll strike. Right? I think it would be strike. Well, I never regained initiative.
We
We
have the
share.
same
Okay.
initiative.
Right.
Yeah, we share initiative. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to roll plus iron, and my iron is 1. That is a miss. So maybe same thing. Like she gets her knife in there and just gets shocked and like thrown back. And it is not going well for Elin.
Oh
My
no.
health is down to +1.
Okay.
One more strike will put us in good odds to finish it successfully if you get a strong hit.
Okay. I'm kind of bummed that like the strike you can't inflict more than one harm, but in clash you can. Like when your foe has initiative, you can uh you can on a strong hit inflict a harm and then choose to either take one momentum or inflict another harm. That's kind of interesting to me. So I mean, I think I'm going to
Hmm.
strike again. I'm trying to think if there's another move that I might use to help. Um,
Actually, we have been reading this wrong.
hmm.
On a weak hit, look at strike. On a weak hit,
Mhm.
inflict your harm and lose initiative. On a strong hit, inflict +1 harm. Your harm is based on your
Ah,
weapon. If you're using a simple weapon, it's 1 harm. If it's a bladed weapon, it's 2 harm.
got it.
So
Okay,
on a strong hit for you would be 3 harm.
got it.
So
Okay,
and that's why yeah, that's the difference between your harm. So you can on a strong hit for clash, you inflict your harm still, but then you have to choose between momentum and harm.
got it.
So
Well,
the bear should
I
have 2
mean,
more harm, which puts it up to
yeah,
8.
it should have. If I'm dealing 3 harm each time, we've only been counting 1,
2.
and I've hit twice.
Yeah, you've hit
Oh, right.
yeah, so then there was
Spear is a simple weapon.
no, the spear count you get 3 harm per hit with the spear, you've hit it twice. And then
Yeah, so that's 6 harm.
the miner hit it as well, and we gave it a 2 for that because it was a pickaxe.
Got it. Okay. So I mean, at formidable, that means that each hit is 2 blocks filled in, right?
Oh, right. Okay. So yeah, this
Or
so
sorry, formidable is 1 filled
well, we
in.
put this at dangerous.
Oh, dangerous. So dangerous is 2 filled in each hit.
So that's a little confused. Okay, so 1 progress per harm, and yours does 3 harm, so it's 3 filled in. Oh no, 2.
Right.
Sorry, dangerous is 2 progress per harm. Yeah, so it's that gets confusing. 2 progress per harm, and you do 3 harm, so that's 6 progress per hit. If
Right.
this were dangerous, which makes me feel like maybe it should be formidable.
Yeah. Maybe it should be.
So
Yeah.
in that case, we are correct, and it would be 8.
Okay.
It's going to be really hard
Excellent.
to edit around this conversation, but maybe we'll leave it in because some people might be learning to play this with us. So
um,
if he's formidable, if the bear is formidable and they're at 8 progress, so that's pretty good odds for end the fight. I don't know if you want to try to hit it again though.
uh, oh boy. All right. So my momentum's pretty high right
You
now
don't use
too.
momentum also when with ending the fight, so it would make sense to use it for one more strike.
Perfect. Then I will do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will strike, and if I need to burn the momentum, then I will. Um, okay. So this is going to be iron. Another strong hit. A roll of 5 + 2, and my challenge were 4 and 6. So I think again, like a flurry of spear strikes is now driving this bear back, and I'm going to make a move to take decisive action uh, to resolve the hit, right? Or just resolve the height,
In the fight.
the fight. With end the fight, momentum is ignored on this roll. Okay, so I just roll the challenge dice, and it's based off of how full
The progress.
the
Yeah, there's
tracker is,
no
right?
ads or anything. The only way, if you roll 2 10s, we're screwed. If you roll 1 10, then we at least win.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. 2 2s.
So
Choose for the night. This is
that's interesting. So something interesting happens here.
hmm.
We could ask the Oracle. I mean, I definitely think there's something coming out of this bear.
So I think that uh, as Alder makes his final strike, he drives the spear in straight into the chest and like drives it several feet into the bear, makes a clean twist, and then pulls it free. And with like sparks and a spray of blood, a cough of um, like I'm imagining like the cough is of a cooling fluid, like it's not blood
Mhm.
or like an organic fluid. It's like a cooling fluid, and this two-headed cybernetic cursed bear like collapses, and the lights along its side and its head and its neck and the cables and everything sizzle for a bit and then goes still. And I'm imagining there's like when you shut off a laptop and the
It's
fan is
still
still,
running. Yeah.
winding down. Yeah. So like you kind of hear that happen,
These
and
bears are running on Windows 95.
yeah. um, Now with this strong hit and a match, I'm wondering if, and again, this is coming from my, recent Blades in the Dark experience here. I've been kind of keeping a little bit of an idea of when this heading dies. And I wonder if maybe we can get a small bit of juice
Mm.
out of this bear that, like, the next, if we roll, right, if something happens that kind of triggers it and we lose this thing or the power dies and we determine that that is the consequence because, as it relates in the narrative, we get one of those.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
like
like,
a piece lands kind of in front of you, and you like you recognize it as, you don't know it's a battery per se, but it looks like it will fit into a like slot that you had opened up on the gizmo earlier, and you're like,
right.
these go together, which might be weird for Alder, because this bear is, you consider this bear to be cursed, like.
Well, the bear is cursed, but it is not necessarily evil,
Mm,
right? Like, it's Sormena cursed it, unfortunately. And this is, we don't know the full meaning of why the bears were cursed. Perhaps it was the destruction of our artifacts. Perhaps it was simply misunderstanding. But I think there's still a respect for these beings, but also they're they cannot be reasoned with, and they are just dangerous.
mhm.
So the best way to deal with it, unfortunately, is to kill them.
Do
Yeah,
you, like, do you just kind of quietly pocket the battery?
I think that this is how it happens.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, he pulls his spear free. The bear collapses. There's the small whirring of its of some sort of internal cooling system that winds down. And as it does, and that sound fades, Alder approaches, and he kneels next to the bear, he has his, kind of spear like standing upright, and he lays it down by his side, and he leads into the bear, and he kind of like grabs, the two heads with his hands. He says a small prayer, and then I think what he does is he pulls his knife and he goes in and kind of pulls back the fur and some of the cut cabling and wiring, and cuts out a small piece of flesh from the bear, and very like ceremoniously removes it, places a small piece of like linen on the ground, places it in the middle, carefully folds this linen over this small piece of meat, and then takes it out and pulls his a pouch out from his pack, and then very carefully packs this piece of the bear into that pouch. And if Elin, are you gonna like come over and witness what he's doing?
No, Elin is on her back in the mud, panting right now, like just
Okay.
breathing kind of heavily.
So he finished packing it into his pouch, and he gets up, and then he gives a bow, and he calls Threshka over. He pulls another feather and places it on the bear as a sign of respect for the fight. And then I think he goes over to Elin and, are you okay there? It appears that you do need me to protect you a bit more than what you led on.
Yeah, just just don't tell anybody. And I think she just kind of like lifts her head up a little bit and she just goes, "What the hell was that?" And then flops her head back down. This has been an episode of Adventure Engines, where collaborative storytelling and world building drive our adventures. We hope this podcast will inspire you to try something new in your games and expand the possibilities of the stories you create. Ironsworn is by Sean Tomkin. We are Jeremy Sampson and Christopher Dunn. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and begrudgingly on Twitter at Adventure Engines. And our website is adventureengines.games. Thanks for listening.